windswept plains of Marwood, where the horizon stretched endlessly and the sky pressed close, lived Evelyn Marwood, a woman whose beauty carried the weight of untold stories. At 36, she had auburn hair that fell in loose curls, amber eyes that shimmered like embers, and a presence that drew people in without effort. Her husband, Samuel, was a stargazer, a lean man of 42 with a telescope always at hand and a mind lost in constellations. Their farmhouse stood alone, surrounded by fields, its nights filled with Samuel's quiet wonder and Evelyn's patient smiles. But beneath her calm, a storm brewed, a longing for something earthbound, something tangible, something Samuel's stars couldn't give her. Before we jump in, real quick, most of you who enjoy these videos still haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, please take a second to hit that button. It helps with channel growth so much and means more than you know. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. Now, let's begin. Began with the horse. Not a gift or a purchase, but a wild mare that appeared one July dawn, grazing at the edge of their land. She was a striking creature, coal-black with a white blaze, her mane tangled by the wind. Evelyn spotted her from the porch, coffee cooling in her hands, and felt a jolt she couldn't explain. Samuel, peering through his telescope, barely glanced up. "Probably wandered from the ridge," he said, distracted by a meteor shower. Evelyn nodded, but her eyes stayed on the horse, its wildness mirroring a part of her she'd forgot. Mare returned daily, lingering near the fence, and Evelyn began to approach her. She'd bring apples, speak softly, watch the animal's ears flick in response. Samuel noticed, amused. "You've got a friend," he teased, but his attention drifted back to the sky. Evelyn didn't mind. The horse became her secret, a quiet rebellion against the endless nights of stargazing she'd never loved. She named her Astra, a nod to Samuel's world, but the name felt like hers alone. Stranger arrived in August, riding the same ridge the mare had come from. His name was Rowan, a rancher from the next county, broad-shouldered and weathered, with dark hair and hands scarred from rains. He'd come searching for his lost horse, he said, knocking on their door one evening. Samuel invited him in, ever the hospitable host, and Rowan's eyes found Evelyn across the room. "That's my Astra," he said, nodding toward the field where the mare grazed. Evelyn's heart sank, but she hid it behind a smile. "She's been keeping me company," she replied, her voice steady. Rowan didn't take Astra that night. "She seems happy here," he said, his gaze lingering on Evelyn. "I'll come back for her when the season turns." Samuel, oblivious, offered him tea, and the men talked of weather and crops while Evelyn felt the air shift, charged with something unspoken. Returned as promised, but not just for the horse. Rowan would ride down every few days, claiming to check on Astra, bringing tales of the plains, cattle drives, storms, the raw pulse of a life untamed. Evelyn met him at the fence, her apron dusted with flour, her laughter freer than it had been in years. Samuel stayed indoors, charting Orion's belt, unaware of the bond forming under his roof. Rowan didn't flirt outright. He shared stories, asked questions, listened when she spoke of the farm, the monotony, the dreams she'd shelved. "You're more than this," he said once, his voice low, and the words sank deep. The affair began not with touch, but with time. Evelyn started riding Astra, Rowan teaching her the reins, his hands guiding hers briefly before pulling away. They'd race across the fields, the wind tearing at her hair, her heart pounding with a freedom she'd never known with Samuel. She told herself it was innocent, a friendship, a release, but the lies grew thin. Rowan's presence became a drug, his quiet strength a contrast to Samuel's distant gentleness. He'd return home flushed, her excuses flimsy, and Samuel's brow would crease, though he said nothing. The shift came in September when Rowan kissed her. It was sudden, under a sky streaked with dusk, Astra grazing nearby. His lips were rough, urgent, and Evelyn didn't pull away, not at first. But guilt crashed in, sharp and cold, and she stumbled back, breathless. "I'm married," she whispered, as if reminding herself. Rowan nodded, unapologetic. "I know," he said, "but you're not his." He didn't tell Samuel, but he felt it. His questions grew pointed. "Where were you today? Was the mare saddled again?" His voice still soft, but edged with doubt. Evelyn lied, her words brittle, and the farmhouse filled with a silence heavier than the stars. She stopped meeting Rowan, tethering Astra to the barn, but he didn't leave. He'd ride by, watching from a distance, his silhouette a taunt against the horizon. The breaking point came in October, during a harvest moon so bright it rivaled Samuel's telescope. Evelyn was in the kitchen, scrubbing dishes, when Samuel set a letter on the table. "Found this in your coat," he said, his tone flat. It was from Rowan, short and scrawled. "I'll wait for you. Always." Her stomach dropped, the dish slipping from her hands. "How long?" Samuel asked, his eyes searching hers. He confessed haltingly, tearfully, the rides, the kiss, the way Rowan made her feel alive. "I didn't sleep with him," she insisted, but the words felt hollow. Samuel listened, his face a mask, then stood and walked outside. She followed, expecting anger, but found him staring at the sky, hands in his pockets. "I've been looking up too long," he said, almost to himself. "I forgot to look at you." Twist unraveled then, a thread she hadn't seen. Samuel turned, holding a photograph, an old snapshot of him and Rowan, younger, laughing by a campfire. "He was my friend," he said, "years ago, before you. We drifted apart when I chose the stars over the plains." Evelyn stared, the pieces clicking into place. Rowan's visits, his ease with her, his patience. It wasn't just her he'd come for. It was Samuel, too, a past he couldn't reclaim. "I wrote to him," Samuel admitted, "months ago. Asked him to check on us. I didn't know he'd see you like that." His voice broke, and Evelyn realized the depth of his trust, his blindness, his love. Rowan hadn't stolen her. Samuel had unwittingly given her away. He didn't see Rowan again. He came for Astra the next day, his face unreadable, and rode off without a word. Evelyn watched him go, the mare's hoofbeats fatting into the wind. Samuel stayed, silent but present, his telescope gathering dust as he turned his gaze to her. They rebuilt slowly, nights by the fire, hands brushing over coffee cups, a marriage rekindled not by passion, but by choice. Years later, standing in the field where Astra once grazed, Evelyn felt the wind tug at her hair, now streaked with gray. Samuel joined her, his arm around her waist, and they looked not at the stars, but at the earth beneath them. She'd strayed, she'd burned, but she'd returned to the man who'd seen her, even when he'd looked away.